All right. All right. I'm sure we'll have a couple more people join on. It's summer. So, anyways, everybody on the call, thanks so much for joining me and Beth. Beth is actually fixing to board an airplane. So that's why she has her big silly headphones on. So if she leaves, that's why. She's going to love it. So we're super excited she's here for a little bit anyways. So first of all, we have Alicen Breaux as our special speaker today. And you guys, if you don't know who Alicen Breaux is, go watch her Diamond documentary. I will post it on the team pages today. Beth, I'll post it on yours too since you're going to be gone. This is amazing. She was the youngest Diamond. Alicen Breaux is our upline. A lot of you may not know that. Beth is actually Alicen's level 10. And I'm Alicen's level 11. So somehow we all fall into her family tree, which is really cool. She's been doing Plexus, you guys, for over 5 years. So she knows the business and she knows what she's talking about. So you definitely want to be paying attention and definitely be taking notes. We've got some good stuff. She is definitely a pioneer of Plexus. So we are super privileged to have her on this Zoom with us. She's going to share her story and then go over some stuff. So Alicen, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, so thank y'all for asking me to jump on. Like Ariel said, I'm a Diamond ambassador, been in the company. I had to count the months. And she's like, 4 years or 5 years? I'm like, wow, 5 years and 3 months. It feels like it's been 5 years and 3 months. And then it feels like it doesn't feel like it. Feels like I've been with Plexus forever. So Plexus is the first network marketing company that I ever have been a part of. One day, normal Facebook land, I see somebody post on Facebook, this girl that I knew, that she was taking this stuff called pink drink, because that's what we called it back then too. And she says, I'm taking this stuff called pink drink. I hope it works yesterday. And of course, I just kind of chuckled, kept going, on with my business. Well, about 2 weeks later, I saw her post that she had lost 10 pounds. 2.5 weeks later, 3 weeks later, something. I saw she had lost 10 pounds. And so then, of course, it caught my attention because I wanted to lose weight. I had tried several different things for weight loss. Some were good, some were not so good. But none of them, most of the stuff that was good wasn't really healthy for me. So when she started posting about this stuff, I said, what does it hurt? I called my weight, my baby weight. My kid was 3, but I still called it baby weight because that's what made me feel better about myself. And so I ended up reaching out to her at the time because I had just received a tax credit, and I remember I had $1,000 extra that just came in for this tax credit that I received. And so I wanted to try this Plexus stuff. And the reason why I say that is because during a normal situation without this extra tax credit, I wouldn't have been able to really afford it. I was a single mom. I was working 2 jobs when Plexus came into my life. It was just a really tough financial spot for me. I had actually been in a relationship with somebody who was a very bad addict that had pretty much drained me of my entire self. Like I had nothing left in me. He completely took myself away from me. So, and I'll go into that a little bit more. But so when Plexus came into my life as a product, that's all it was. I was trying this product. I hoped that it worked. And within the first week, I knew that I felt good, and I knew that it was something different. Like I knew there was something different about Plexus. So just in a normal conversation, having dinner at my parents' house, I start telling them that I'm taking this stuff called Plexus, and I really like the way I feel, and I had lost a couple pounds. And my dad looks at me and he says, Alicen, that's that stuff that Gina Foray sells. He says, and they made really good money in their first 8 weeks of doing the business. If you like it so much, why don't you just sell it too? And I looked at him like, have you lost your mind? Absolutely not. And Gina Foray, my dad and Gina Foray's husband worked together. So he had overheard Gina's husband talking about this stuff. So then he kind of just, over the next few days, he was like, why don't you do this? Why don't you could really use financial help. Why don't you just do this? He knows I'm I'm an all-in type of person, so I don't halfway anything. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all in. And so but there was no way that I could gamble my money. And that's how I felt at the time. Like, there's no way I could gamble my money. I'm a single mom. I need every penny that I have in my checking account. And even though back then I looked at it like a gamble, now at this point, I would literally scrape pennies, wash cars, bag groceries, do anything that I possibly had to do to get a hold of that money to start a business. I just want to throw that out there, a Plexus business. So my dad actually paid for me to start Plexus. He said, I'm going to pay for you. I really think you could do this. So he bought my welcome kit. He did the whole setup, got the big welcome kit, paid my membership. And I laugh because at first I told him, hey, I'll give you 50% of whatever I make because you helped me get started. So you could have 50%. We'll just split this. It'll be a business for us together. And then after I got my welcome kit, I posted on Facebook and all the product was sold. And then I had more sales. I went down to 25%. Dad, how about 25%? And he was like, sure, that's fine, whatever. And then after I sold 14 30-day supplies in my first couple weeks, he was like, I went back to him. I said, Dad, how about I take you out to eat dinner every time I get a Plexus paycheck? And he was like, sure, okay. And now he jokes around and says, if I would have just asked for 1%, then I would be sitting pretty. So that's a joke. And I do take him out to eat, and I did treat him, to Maui and all sorts of things. But Plexus is, to me, I'm the kind of person where if I like stuff, I'm going to share about it, right? If I go get a good shampoo, if I go get a good massage, anything, I'm just go to a good restaurant, I'm going to tell people about it. And that's simply what I did with Plexus because I didn't know any better. I got on Facebook and I started telling people about this stuff that I liked, thinking if I could get some of my friends to take this product too, then they're going to cover my cost of me continuing on these products because I knew that I wanted to stay on the products. And that's kind of what drove my business. And then I remember getting my first check, guys, and my first commission check. I can't say exactly how much it was, but I could tell you that it was under $100. And to me, to many people, that's not a big deal. But to me at the time, being a single mom, it covered my water bill, so that was huge to just have one bill, relieved, a little bit stress relieved from me. And then it kind of went on to, I was able to cover my electricity bill. And I don't remember the point at which it was, but I remember stopping one day and being just pulling on the side of the road and just I emailed Tarl and Alec at the time because this is back in the day, we were so small. And I sat there and cried because I was so overwhelmed with thankfulness that this business was starting to cover my electricity bill. And I just kind of realized this can truly be something. This business can truly grow into something. And it has, y'all. And I promise you that it hasn't because of me having these highly amazing skills of network marketing. It has because I went from talking about the products and telling people, and I'll go into that a little bit later. So 10 months into my business, I was making 5 times the income of that job that I was working at. I had already dropped off my extra job, which was a waitress and bartending / job. And then 10 months in, my fiance at the time, because I always laugh and say he asked me to marry him right before I turned emerald. Very smart guy, right? And so 10 months in, he says, Alicen, you're miserable there. They give you crap every time you have to miss work for your son being sick. Why don't you just quit? And I took a step back, no way. At first I was like, no way. I've worked since I've been a teenager. I've always known nothing but to work to get by. And so it actually took me about 2 months for me to build up the nerve. But at a year into my business, I decided, you know what, I'm going to quit my job. And this is way back in 2012, y'all. So this is the company was still kicking off and people thought I was crazy. It's not what it is now. If somebody quits their job now, it's not really such a huge leap of faith. Back then it was this company is just kicking off. People thought I was crazy. Even my dad thought I was crazy. But I just knew that I knew in my heart, and I knew where Plexus was going, and I knew that God was leading me in the direction he was leading me to for a reason. So I went with it and thought, if I have to get another job one day, then I have to get another job, right? So that year, they launched the Maui trip, and I ended up treating my parents to Maui. So ever since that time of let's see, it's May of 2012 is when I retired. I've been home ever since then. About 6 months after I retired, I looked at my fiance, which is now my husband, and I said, okay, your turn. Time for you to retire because I don't want to stay home by myself. I want you to do this business with me. And so, of course, how I was so nervous, he was not so nervous. He like, can I quit tomorrow? Had no hesitation. And he quit his job in the chemical plant and he's been home. So we've both been home together. Actually, November makes 4 years that he's been home and retired. And May of this year made 4 years for me that I've been home and retired until recently we decided to purchase a gym because it's, that was a dream of ours, and it was something that kept coming back into our lives. It's a big dream of my husband's to own a fitness center. And so we decided after it came back around 3 times that, you know, God was leading us that direction. It was something we needed to do. So we purchased the gym about 4 months ago. And so now I'm able to work my Plexus business from the gym instead of from home, which is truly no different. And so that's been a huge blessing as well. I can tell you that after 4 months, that traditional business is definitely not as cool as network marketing. Promise. Take my word for it. You don't have to try it. Just believe me. And so I mean, and then as far as the products go, I'm a huge believer in the Plexus products. I've read over the years tens of thousands of testimonies of how the products have changed lives, and I truly don't believe that we would have the opportunity we have if we wouldn't have the products to back us. We wouldn't have products that are changing people's health and changing lives. And so with the products, last week I hit a new goal. I actually hit 87 pounds gone and 65 inches. So that's how much I've lost with the products. I'm also certified in fitness nutrition, and that's something I did throughout my Plexus journey just to be more knowledgeable. So I'm also a huge believer in not just depending on the products to do all the work for you, but for you working with the products, you know, and eating healthier and moving and just putting forth, matching the effort of the products to get better results. So I'll kind of go into a couple tips. I jotted down a couple tips about, you know, it's so hard. I've learned so much over the last 5 years. And I like to tell people I'm such an open book. I'll tell you what's worked. I'll tell you what not to do. Like, don't make the same mistake I did. But one of the first things, I get asked the question all the time, what is your number one tip with this business? And my number one tip for everything in this business is absolutely consistency. One word sums up my number one tip: consistency. And what I mean by consistency is I mean that you have to be consistent with taking your products. That's where it starts, okay? Because if you're not consistent with taking your products, that's where your belief comes in at. And I promise you that if you are not a lover of Plexus products, people can see straight through you when you're trying to tell them about the products and so forth, and you don't really believe in them yourself. So you have to be consistent with putting forth your own effort and taking the products and believing in the products, because like I said, that's where your belief comes in. That's where your passion for the products comes in. And that's how you lead to a successful business, it's from your passion for the products. I'm equally as passionate about the business now as I am the products, because both of them have played such a huge role in my life. Here's another thing you have to be consistent with. You have to be consistent with learning. You can never stop learning. You can never stop trying to be better. You could always improve in something. And still to this day on my journey, I still always try to learn, read, develop myself, be a better leader. You never know everything. So you have to be consistent with that, developing yourself. You have to be consistent with sharing the opportunity, consistent with inviting. If you're not inviting people to take a look at the products or the opportunity, then you're not really working the business. Part of that inviting is rejection. You'll get rejection during the inviting process. But I promise you, the more people you invite, the better you'll get at it. and your ratio of how many people you have to talk to compared to how many people join will improve over time. So say when you also have to know your ratio. So say that you think just because you have 5 people that you're talking to, you can't sit back and say, I have 5 people that I'm talking to. I'm just waiting for these 5 people to sign up. You want to be talking to more people and hope that a percentage of them, you want to be talking to 100 people and know that 5 of them might sign up. So it might take you talking to 50 people before 1 person signs up. That might be your ratio, 1 in every 50 people. But as you improve, as your passion becomes more, as your belief comes more, as your skills become better, you might end up having to, you might end up getting 3 people eventually out of every 50 that you talk to. So kind of know your ratio and know that the more people you talk to, the more chance you have of moving through the ranks of Plexus. I saw a quote somebody put the other day, I think it was Rita Davenport, that said, the people at the top have just talked to more people. They've talked to the most people. That's all it is. So talk to people. Be consistent with that. If you're building your business on Facebook, be consistent with posting. Okay, that's very, very important, because if you're a once a week poster or once every 2 weeks poster or even once every couple day poster, then people are probably looking at you and saying, well, she's not that serious about this business, because if she was, she would be sharing more about it. So you kind of want to be consistent with that. Belief is huge. You have to believe in yourself when everybody else thinks that you're crazy. You have to believe in Plexus when everybody else thinks you're crazy. You have to believe in the products, believe in our executives, believe in the company, even through the ups and the downs. Something that's kept me sane through my Plexus business, because trust me, they've been some downs, tons of ups, definitely more ups and downs, but keeping a positive attitude throughout the process, because I truly believe in the law of attraction. I truly believe in what you speak, what you believe is your reality. And so if you're constantly speaking negativity into your business, or to your friends or whatever, I truly believe that that's what's going to be attracted to you, and that's what you're destined to have, is negativity and not success. So law of attraction, you have to be the person that people are attracted to. You have to, and law of attraction is I believe 100%, it's absolutely real. I've had people that have, like, I've read this book, it's called The Power by Rhonda Byrne, and it's all about the law of attraction. What you feel is what happened, your thoughts become your reality. And it was so crazy, because during reading the book, I started practicing the law of attraction and being better and so forth. And I just had random people just reaching out to me that I had never heard of, never talked to, wanting to do the business, wanting to do the products. And so you have to be the person that people want to work with. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. None of us are perfect, but people are attracted to people who are positive and who are successful and who have it together. You don't have to know everything. You know what I think helped me the most in the beginning of the business, because I didn't know a lot about network marketing. I didn't know a lot about none of this. Like, truly, when I thought of network marketing, I thought of Mary Kay, and I'm going to name drop Mary Kay. I thought of like makeup parties and all these women putting makeup on, and I'm like I'm not that person. So that was my mindset of network marketing. So whenever I got in Plexus, you wouldn't have looked at me. I would not have been somebody's dream teamer, okay? Nobody would have said, I really want Alicen Breaux on my team. She's a dream teamer, because I didn't have a ton of friends. I didn't have, a ton of extra money. But what kept me going is, one, I was confident. So even though I did not know much about the products when I started, or much about the opportunity, or I didn't have a ton of girlfriends, I went out and I had a confident face on, and I shared confidently about the products. And I guess I truly believe that people were attracted to that confidence that I put on, and until I actually knew what I was talking about. But I feel like people were attracted to that confidence. So Here's another one that could help you to be successful in your business. And it's a tough one. And it's something that a lot of people don't like to hear about, but it's the truth. And it's accountability. And accountability goes for your products and for your business. Okay? So I hear excuses all the time. The products are not working for me. The business is not working for me. But you have to be accountable for your actions, okay? If the business is like, sometimes I like to say I have to give myself a reality check, because I'll be like, oh, I gained 5 pounds. And the first thing you don't want to say is I gained 5 pounds, but I ate pizza and Twinkies and Burger King. Like, you don't want to say that. You block that part out of your mind. You say, I gained 5 pounds. These products just must not be working for me. But the way that you're going to move ahead with your progress for the products and with your business is by stepping back. I like to say, give yourself a little reality check and say, you know what, I gained 5 pounds, but I know what I ate, so I have to be better. I know I gained 5 pounds, but I haven't been taking my products every day like I should, so I have to be better. So when you could learn to hold yourself accountable and give yourself little reality checks of what you're doing, then that's how you become really honest with yourself and move forward. Okay, my business is struggling. I haven't gotten to gold yet, and that's my goal. And I just don't know what to do, because, you kind of like, it's natural for us to make excuses for ourselves, right? It's just natural. It's something we do. But if you just learn to step back and say, I didn't make it to gold, but I haven't followed up with any of my customers this month. I've barely posted on Facebook. I'm not reaching out to people. I didn't reach out to anybody to tell them about the promotion the company just had. Then you kind of like, you know what I mean? So I hope that makes sense. It's just about holding yourself accountable and being real with yourself. That's how you learn, and that's how you become better, when you can be completely honest with yourself and get rid of the excuses. And last but not least, of course, this opportunity takes hard work. It's network marketing. It takes work. It doesn't happen overnight. Success doesn't happen overnight. You'll see people who fly to the top of the company. Don't compare yourself to those people. Okay? And that's the hardest part, is comparing yourself. Oh, Celeste went emerald in 4 months, or this person went diamond in 8 months. And it's really hard to not compare yourself, because you start saying, what did I do? What am I doing different? Why can't I do that? You don't compare yourself to somebody, because take me, for example, and Celeste is one of my very best friends. I talk to Celeste every day, so I'll use her as an example. I have, when I started, a completely different network. You know who my friends were? I grew up with all guys. So my friends were my sisters, and I had one best friend that's a girl. I had a completely different network. So of course I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Celeste started, she has a gigantic network of people that she already had that trusted her and loved her, and she could reach out to. You never know somebody's history or their network, or, what they've done for their entire life to get them to move through the ranks. So don't compare yourself. When you compare yourself to others, then you truly take away from the big picture and what it's the thief of everything. Comparison is the thief of joy, for sure. So don't compare yourself. It's your journey. Work on you being better than you were yesterday. Work on you talking to so many people a week and so many people a month. Work on you, and don't look so far forward that you lose sight of what you're doing. Instead of looking so far forward, if you're silver saying, I want to be diamond, look at what's right in front of you. Look at what you can do daily to get to the next rank. I never remember being silver and saying, I hope to be diamond one day. Like or even emerald. I just focused on every single day, what I could do to be better, who I could talk to, who was on my list. That's what I remember focusing on, and it led to me getting to diamond. So I think that kind of wraps up my main tips. I could probably sit here all day long and share tons of experience and just different things and what not to do, because I've done a lot of wrong things through this journey that I've learned from that led me to the right things. But I guess Ariel, you want to kind of, do you have time for a couple questions or?
Yeah, no, Alicen, that was great. I took a whole bunch of notes myself. One of the things I wanted to ask you, and I love that you said don't compare yourself, because so many times, I mean, we do see Celeste or people under her and they're doing it so fast. And for a lot of us, it just did not happen that quickly. So yes. I don't think that's the norm to hit Emerald in 4 months. That's not normal. That's just not normal. So thank you for sharing that. It's nice to hear somebody like you say that. You've been doing this for 5 years, and you did say that you didn't have a huge network of friends in the beginning that were girls. You didn't have that network. What did you do? How did you get out there and share the business then?
I started, the only thing I knew to do at the time was start posting on Facebook. I started posting on Facebook. If I had like my godfather, I would go to his page and he had friends. I would add some of his mutual friends. I'd go to some of my other friends, add some of their mutual friends. And that's kind of how I built up my network, my audience on Facebook. I would say 90% of the people that have joined my level 1 are not people that I knew when I started Plexus. Later, probably, and also I was young. You know, I was 24 years old when I started. I was at a different maturity level than most 24-year-olds because I had a kid and I had to do what I had to do at the time. But most of my friends were not at that same level. They were out, they were partying, they were doing whatever they were doing, but they weren't home with a kid. So I looked for older people and I reached up, you know, so I went to, like I said, my godfather's page, added some of his mutual friends because he was in his like late 30s. And then I went to some of my other friends and, you know, just so forth. And that's how I built my page and kept promoting and promoting and promoting.
Okay, awesome. And let me ask you another question. A lot of people have different views on this. I personally don't have one. Do you have a business page as well as your personal page on Facebook?
I do have a business page. And let me tell you why. I didn't have a business page for so long, and then people started creating business pages, and I was like, well, maybe I'm missing out on something. Maybe I should create a business page too. But it was already kind of far into my business, so most of the people that liked my business page was Plexus ambassadors. So it didn't really do me much good to advertise to Plexus ambassadors. So then I went and created a page. It's called Plexus Diamond Alicen Breaux, and that's where I just kind of, because I have so many people that come to me from all different teams, that's where I kind of like share tips and stuff for anybody who's an ambassador in the whole company. But I don't think that a business page will ever replace your personal page. You need to advertise on your personal page. That's where your friends are. That's where your audience is. That's where people have no choice to be because they're your friend. They don't have to go like a page. So I definitely say that a business page might be okay as a second avenue. Like if you have one, you post on your personal page and you copy and paste and go add it to your business page, it won't hurt because it's another page, but never replace your personal page with that business page.
Okay, thanks. I love that. I use my personal page for everything. So I probably won't start a business page. I've been doing this, for 3.5 years. So kind of like you said, everybody that does it is already on my personal page. But we always have a lot of people ask that. So I wanted to get a different viewpoint. So, okay, let's see. We have a couple of questions. Hold on. Megan. Okay, we kind of went over that. Did you start off with a big network of friends? If not, how'd you reach new potentials? We did that. The friends and family that you contact on Facebook Messenger, you know how you can see that somebody reads it and they don't respond? Do you continue to message them about the opportunity and or products? How do you go about that? Or how long do you wait before responding? What's your follow-up process, I guess?
So a lot of times I will randomly reach out to people on Facebook. It might be friends. It might be people I don't know. It might be people I've chatted with a little bit and kind of just tell them about what's going on or, so forth. If I have somebody comment, what I do is I keep a notebook of everybody that, like, it's a list, okay? And Ariel, if you go and you show interest in Plexus 4 years ago, your name's on that list. And then anytime I have promotions or so forth, I'll follow up with all of those people on that list because I'm constantly adding to it. And it might take somebody a couple years before they join. But if they do and they're your biggest rock star, then it was worth it, right, to wait. So I continue to add to that list. My goal when I reach out to people and tell them, and this is how I tell a lot of my team too, is when you reach out to people, you don't always expect a response. You might message 100 people and you might get 2 responses, 3 responses out of it. And to me, that's a win, because if you wouldn't have messaged those 100 people, then you might not have those 2 or 3 people that would have responded. My goal when I'm messaging people is to make them aware of what I'm doing, and then I follow up by being consistent on my personal page. Because if I message Ariel and tell her about Plexus and she's interested, but she's not sure she really wants to respond, but it might be in her head, okay, I remember that Alicen girl told me about Plexus. Let me go to her page and see what's really going on. And then I've been consistent with posting on Facebook. She might start watching my posts and so forth, and then come forward when she's ready, when her timing's right.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, somebody else wants to know, what do you do when you sign up newbies? What would like to help them find success? Maybe what would be your biggest 3 tips for new ambassadors? Okay,
so I like to sign ambassadors up over the phone or in person. I think that your first impression with your new ambassador is very important. Getting them started. You're showing them right there that you are their partner. You're going to do this with them. So I think the first impression is very important. So we get them signed up. The second thing that I do with a new ambassador is we either meet up if they're local, or we'll get on a Zoom or a call, and I'll go over their goals. I go into the products. I don't go into the entire compensation plan because that's really overwhelming, but I'll go into, if they say, hey, my goal is to make $1,000 a month, then I know that I'm going to talk to them about going out and find their first 3 people that want to do business with them, that want to join the company, whether it be for wholesale prices or whether it be because they want to do the business. So I give them a game plan based on what their goals are, and then we just kind of work closely. I encourage them to make a list of people that they could reach out to. I encourage them to, maybe if we could have them a launch party online via Zoom, or even in person if they're local. This is the most important thing that you want to know when you have a good ambassador. You want to come up with a good system for you. Make yourself a checklist and stay consistent. Because if you could check off, okay, I signed Ariel up, I did this with her, I did this with her, I did this with her, then it kind of keeps you organized. And another thing is that if it doesn't duplicate, then it doesn't matter. So what you're doing when you do this is you're teaching your level 1s a system. So when they sign somebody up, they're going to remember, okay, well, Alicen did this, this, and this with me, so I want to do this, this, and this with my level 1. The faster that you can get somebody plugged in, the faster that you can get them to earn a first check, the more invested they will be into this business and into the products.
Awesome. Thank you. Somebody else, and I have a question too, but I'll answer this one. If somebody signs up, but not for the business, the wholesale customer, would you still do a Zoom or meet up with them?
If they start signed up for wholesale prices, I would probably still have a conversation with them on the phone or meet up, because you still want to educate them on the products. When you're signing somebody up for wholesale, your goal, okay, so let me tell you this. Probably 90% of the jewels, diamonds, emeralds, sapphires that signed up in this company signed up for wholesale. They only signed up for wholesale because they wanted a discount. They didn't sign up. They wasn't doing this business. They wasn't selling anything. They wasn't being part of this stuff. Like, I laugh all the time. And then they end up being the most successful ambassadors. So you don't want to write off a wholesale ambassador. I would probably approach a wholesale ambassador as maybe not pushing them to do the business part, but educating them on product. Because when they fall in, you kind of like hook them and sink them. Hook them and reel them in with the products, because then they're going to be in love with the product, and then they're going to naturally want to start telling people about it, even if they swear they're not going to sell this stuff, No,
totally agree. I was a wholesale ambassador, and so was Beth. I did it because they were all joining, and I didn't want to be left out. That's my reason why I joined. And Beth did it to buy the products cheap for her and her husband. So you're absolutely 100% right. You can't judge anybody. You never know. So.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions? If so, go ahead and type them. I have a question for you.
Okay.
I know we kept you for a little while, but just another one really quick.
Okay.
You've been doing this for a while. I've made so many mistakes in this business. I can't even imagine. I mean, I have a list of mistakes that I've made. Knowing what you know now, is there anything that you would like to see, that you could share with us, like your biggest mistakes, like what you would maybe do differently, knowing now what you know?
Oh gosh. Now I'm gonna have to
Or just
think.
like any big mistakes, something you did, how would you change it now? Something maybe you did in the beginning that you now do totally different.
Okay. One of the biggest, okay, so now that say that, okay, so one of the biggest mistakes that I've made is probably, I used to tell people, like, I was the person when I started, like, I'm going to take these Plexus products. I need them to work. I'm not going to put in forth any effort. And so a lot of times I would tell people that I didn't really push the whole health side and making changes for yourself and making changes to your diet. And that kind of I feel like I set people up for failure when I do that. Like if you don't truly teach people that they need to take the products, but they also need to make changes for themselves, then you're not setting them up to create a lifestyle and, a lifestyle that they could be successful with and stick with, as far as being healthy. So I would probably say that. As far as the business, I don't know. I mean, I made so many mistakes. I had no idea what I was doing when I started. Like, I'm just keeping it real. I had no clue at all what I was doing when I started Plexus. I just kind of went with it. Like, oh, Facebook works. Good. Let's go with that. And so, I mean, it kind of like the beginning of my journey is kind of like a big blur because it just went so fast and we grew so fast as an entire company that, I mean, I made tons of mistakes, probably not following up with people like I should. Okay, so here's one thing that I made a mistake. Now you're making me have negative thoughts.
No. You're sharing. You're helping us so we can improve.
Okay, so one thing I think that what I did that really brought me down was a lot of times I wanted it more for people than they wanted it for themselves. And so that was probably my biggest wake up call when it came to this business was I would not beg people, but kind of beg people like, come on, like, don't you see what we have? Don't you see how this business could change your life? Because that's how I felt, like this business was truly changing my whole life. Like it was rocking my world, the business, the products. And so I wanted people to experience the same thing. Like I wanted them to see what I saw, and not everybody's going to see that. And sometimes I wanted it more for people than they wanted it for themselves. And you can't want it more for people. Like I would try to pull people along and then it would bring me down because they didn't want it. So one thing you have to realize is that the people that you're signing up or you're working with, don't let it emotionally affect you if they are not willing to see the big picture and are not willing to put in the effort to reach their dreams, because they have to want it more for themselves. They have to desperately want to change more for themselves than you want it for them. So that was a huge lesson, that I learned through my business.
Absolutely. And I love it too, how you said about the product. Sometimes people, they sign up or their customers and they expect, to lose 15, 20 pounds in a month without making those lifestyle changes. So it is really important not to give that false hope. Totally agree.
Yeah, don't give people false expectations.
Yeah.
They much rather you be real with them and say, look, this is a 7-day trial. You might not lose any weight in this 7-day trial. Our products are not that type of products. But then you say, oh, so-and-so lost the 10 pounds in 7 days. And then when they don't lose 10 pounds, they're kind of like PO'd that they didn't get, so you kind of gave them false expectations. Same thing with the business. You have to give them, look, your check is a reflection of your activity. Your check is a reflection of how many people you're helping, how many people you're talking to. So if you're not satisfied with the pace of your business, then you kind of have to give yourself a checkup from the neck up and kind of like realize what you're doing. What could you do better?
Absolutely. Okay, I have one more question for you that somebody wrote in, if that's okay, and then we'll let you go. Thank you so much. Okay, how long do you wait to follow up with a preferred customer about the business opportunity, especially if they're loving the product? What's your follow-up on customers to convert?
Okay, so if they're loving the product, then this is something you could do pretty quickly, within after the first month, I would, or first couple weeks. If somebody comes to me and says, oh my gosh, this is the best stuff, it depends on the conversation, of course, but if they say I'm in love with these products, then why not tell them, okay, Ariel, you love these products. If you'd like, I could show you how to do your own wholesale membership to where you can get these products for even cheaper before your next order. You know what I mean? There's no really time. It just depends on how it's going with them. I will tell you this, customers don't stay customers for long. If you look at customer base, you might have a very few long-term customers that are going to stay invested and stay customers for a long time. So I feel like you have a window of probably about 2 to 3 months to get them switched over to an ambassador, or they're more invested as an ambassador. Okay. People are more invested as an ambassador. So if you don't miss your window and expect people to really stay customers for past 3 months, because it's just not how people do. You'll have very few that will be long-term customers, but most people will do it a month, do it 2 months, do it 3 months, and pretty much get uninterested. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yes, that's so true. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Last chance. Or I guess if you think of something too, we can always message them into her as well. Anyone? Okay. Well, Alicen, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you on with us. Beth and I were so excited to have you. You're just a wealth of knowledge. So we really appreciate you taking the time for all of us and answering our questions and sharing your story. I think you have a great story. So
thank you. Thank y'all for having me on. It was nice spending the morning with y'all.
All right. Thank you, Alicen. We really appreciate it. And guys, I will get this recording up either tonight or tomorrow. My computer stinks, so bear with me. Alicen, I'll give you the recording too. Once I get it, I'll message it.
All right. Cool.
So,
y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Alicen. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. See you next week.